Welcome on in, everybody, to the Hello Pivot Live. We are here today. We are so excited to be here. And if you don't know, Hello stands for Helping Enterprises Leverage Leading Web3 Optimizations. But most importantly, it's about helping everyone live life optimally. And today we have our amazing guest, Ms. Jenny Lynn Ford, also known as Jen Lynn, however you see her. But at the end of the day, she's dubbed the Supreme Queen of Unicorns and is a vibrant force in the realms of branding. Her electric career spans from 15 years of life-saving paramedics and firefighter services and over 20 years of branding and fundraising. As an executive life coach and a creator of the avant-garde branding system, Jenny crafts transformational narratives. Her expertise is rooted in neurobiology-based holistic executive leadership coaching with certifications in trauma-informed, brain-friendly leadership and mind coaching. But most importantly, Jenny's approach is holistic, blending brand strategy with the personal authenticity. She is also a skilled makeup artist, as if you cannot tell, and a stylist, enhancing her influence. Her innovative techniques leverages neuroplasticity to unlock potential, emphasizing practical transformation. Jenny's philosophy is about being unapologetically unique, tearing up that unconventional rule book and guiding others to discover, express their authentic selves. And again, at the end of the day, Jenny is a certified human rights consultant, a cultural ethos leader, an advocate for UN sustainability goal initiatives, and a B Corp enthusiast. Say that 10 times fast, and we got Ms. Jenny Lynn with us. Welcome. So good to be here.
I was laughing at there because I'm like, I really, every time I go start a new venture, my twins like, we need a break. And I'm like, maybe I need to shorten that somehow.
It's so hard when you are such a dynamic person like yourself that it's kind of like, what do you curtail off and what do you leave on? And it just gets to the point where, at the end of the day, it's hard to, have a short, impactful introduction of someone so phenomenal. So, is there anything that I left out of that introduction?
Oh my gosh. I don't think so. I think you pretty well had me all covered there. It was beautiful and amazing, and I appreciate you guys so much. I'm so excited to be here today in the beautiful Hello Plaza. I don't know, like, can you all see this beautiful space behind? I know that you can. It's amazing. I love it.
Absolutely. Those of you that do want to join us in the metaverse and come join us in this live conversation, go to thehellollc.io and you can join us in the metaverse from your phone, from your laptop, from your iPad, right? From your VR headsets. The metaverse is nothing more than the third generation of the internet. And that's why we're showcasing this to you all, to get rid of that crusty, dusty Zoom and elevate your customer experience and take it to a whole new level, especially those of us that are looking for something different. We have to be able to do something different. And, Jen, you shared, some things earlier in your amazing podcast show earlier that a lot of people are unaware of, and that you brought to their attention, and that, us that don't know about it do know about it now. And that's the same case in all these areas that we talk about. And so with your amazing business, what are the avant-garde branding systems? Talk to us about that. What does that look like?
So the avant-garde branding systems really encapsulates being able to create your brand from the beginning, create a rebrand, really go through any place in that process and pick up, just like you would on a music sheet at a particular bar, and know what to do to make sure that the changes that you're implementing and making are coherent and consistent across all of your socials, across all of your media. So whatever it is that you're changing. So the avant-garde is a acronym in itself that terribly I cannot remember off the top, but it is about assessing, re-examining, and different things like that. So the systems are also including, because it is holistic. So it's the ethos system that you're building. It's your ethos system. So we're doing everything inside with, somatic body work, meditating, biohacking, your mindful practices, and all of those sorts of things. And then bringing them all into this one beautiful, consistent, coherent flow of extension from yourself to your business to your employees, that there's no separation in any of those places.
Oh, I love that. At the end of the day, I forget our tagline half the time, or not tagline, I should say the, acronym of things. And it's so funny because it's when we get to that point, we're like, oh, what's the acronym? But the point of what you were sharing is the fluidity that I hear about kind of people not knowing where to go and the direction to go, and being able to have a real roadmap of where to go. That fluid state is important for anybody, because a lot of times we get lost in the weeds when we don't understand where to go or what to do. So your tagline is the art of muchness, which is integrating every shade of your professional palette. What is muchness?
So your muchness is anything and everything that really at the end of the day you ever got picked on for. Most of the time we got picked on for the things. It was the things that you got in trouble for. Maybe you talked too much, right? Maybe you wore too much makeup or not enough makeup. Maybe you dressed too loudly or not enough. Maybe you were the wallflower and you got picked on about it. Maybe you thought differently and processed things differently. Your muchness really comes down to your uniqueness. It's what makes you unique. It's what makes you be able to be it's not just a unique selling proposition, right? It's so much more than that. And through the avant-garde process and through the niching process, it's you becoming your own specific unique niche. So like the avant-garde branding systems is my own, like it's me. It is me and it's nobody else. And in fact, can somebody else pick it up and be able to carry it? Yes, because I've created a brand that's got the story and all of the details, right? So they can carry that vision. However, without me, it truly never would have existed, because I'm the only one that could bring it into existence. And we're each of us, that is true. Like the Hello LLC would never exist without the two of you, exactly as you are. So it's going through and being able to find all of those things that make you special, and that most of the time it's the things we put in the boxes because we needed to, for safety, for conformity, and all of those things. So it's really not that hard to get in touch with. The hard part is having and getting the permission to be your muchness.
Yeah, that's so spot on. And even more importantly, we share with entrepreneurs and businesses that you don't have a business if you don't talk about your business and you don't showcase your business, and you are your brand. It's
Right.
not like it used to be where you could hide behind a logo, you could hide behind a couple of pictures, or a couple of testimonies of what other people have said about you. You now have to fully engage with your clients and your customers and create a community that people want to be a part of. And that's where your branding comes into place. And so often we find that people want to sell before they brand and people know about their business. And people don't know about your business if you don't talk about your business, especially implementing some of these newer technologies and strategies that people want. People that want to send out newsletters and blogs. That's cute and adorable. That's a little old school, but now you have to beef up, your social media. How often are you doing your social media? Do you have a podcast? Do you have any live events or social audio rooms that you conduct? Do you do anything that entices people to come learn more about you? Because there's 1,000 real estate agents out there. What makes you different? And that's where we share with people, you have to separate yourself and do things that you might not want to do. And success is on the other side of the things that you won't do, especially when you talked about our childhood, that we might have talked too much. We might have did this. We might have did that. And a lot of times those traumas become our dramas, that become programs, that become patterns, that then create this fear that we create. And fear is not false evidence appearing real. That's one part. But we share with people that it's focused energy arranged to react. What are
No,
you
I
focused
love
on?
that.
Right?
Love
How,
that.
how have, where's your energy at? Is it negative? Is it positive? Are you talking about being positive out in public and being negative behind the scenes? How are you showing up when it comes to forgiveness and truly apologizing, not to other people, but to yourself, to own up to it and not fall back into those patterns as we do of getting defensive or wanting to fight, or somebody talking about your business and you getting defensive when you know these are things that you should do because it's going to get you to the next level. But we fight those things and we get fearful of change because the unknowing and the unwillingness to make that change. And so it's so crucial right now that we're willing to make that pivot and not just talk about it and not just do it for 1 month, 2 months, and in 3 months you're back at doing the same things you did beforehand. That's not consistency, and that's dang sure not commitment. And that's what it takes in a business, in a relationship, in a friendship, and a relationship with yourself. That's more importantly. And a lot of the times we forget about that.
Yeah, I love that definition of fear. I tell it as, like we're energy masters. And we are actually doing these things all the time, consciously or subconsciously. And that's reading, detecting, directing, and processing energy. We're always doing those things. So it's bringing it into the consciousness. And there's another thing that I love about this process and being so in tune with your brand and so in tune that it is you and you are it and there's no separation, which breaks down the, there's a lot less imposter syndrome. There's a lot less self-doubt. There's a lot less inconsistency in those things. And you said, right, so we can pivot. We can pivot. One of the programs, right, one of the parts that you all offer is the pivot, right? So there's these key words. There's this storyline. These are threads that are pulled all the way through. And this is why it's so important. You all have found a way to do that, and the greats always do. And so, but that is bring it from the inside out. And so that there's no separation. You never have to remember, right? Like I may have to try to remember what my tagline is, but when it comes to the heart and the core of what I have to say, I never have to remember that. And I can talk about it. I can move about it. I am that. I talk to people all the time, about, especially with that presence and that consistency, that you are your brand. Please, you are your brand. And if you can't be it, then you need to rebrand. You need to, switch and follow that. You cannot step into and like make yourself become your brand. You need to be your brand, right? And so I there's just a lot of differences in the way that I see branding and the way that it's been taught for a really long time. And the other part of that, of course, is being able to get to those core values. And like I said, like I was talking about today, understanding that if you're not thinking about your ethos system while you're building in that time and place, you are already failed. You're not setting yourself up for, success. And that's one of the biggest reasons that I actually came into branding. It's because I kept seeing women over and over and over and over failing because of the foundations and the pillars and trying to build off of what they believe to be true about their values, but not really doing the work to know that those are their values.
Yeah.
Things like that.
And there's one question that I have, but you said something and I got a point on that. How important is it for a business to have their foundation in order? Can you express to people how important that is? Because the branding is one thing, but the foundation is the most important. Can you share with people? Because we talk about it, but I need somebody else to share with people. Hey, listen up.
The you will not, WILL, not NOT, all capital, succeed. You will not. And it's not a matter of just, I'm going to fail and I'm going to keep coming back up and failing and keep coming back up. You will not succeed if you do not take the time to understand and build out your foundations, your pillars, your cornerstones, because foundation, right? It's the foundation. And if you don't build that, or if it's built on sand, you're going to build a leaning tower of Pisa that's going to come crashing down. You're never even going to get there. Every time you get a window in place, the water's going to come and sweep it in and remove it, right? Something's going to come. And this has been more important now than ever, because everything is available. Anybody can find and see anything. And that's part of the reason, right, that you can't hide behind a logo anymore. You can't hide behind the fact that your mission statement says this is who you are and what you do. We can see everything. Everything is transparent. There is no such, every brand, every business is and should be a glass house that's easily seeable and easily understandable and easily and 100% prepared to hold itself, be held accountable by the public. 100%. And if you don't have those foundations, you will not succeed. The other reason is that because you need to know what's in your foundation to know that there's a crack there. You need to know that this is or it isn't working, all of those problems. And you can't go back and fix what you don't know is there. And the disconnect is just, it's like cutting the nose off to spite your face. It really, really is. And over and over and over again. It's even more insane than doing the same thing over and over and over again. It's more harmful than that, in my humble opinion.
Absolutely. Well, when you shared the foundation side of things, and when David asked that question, I don't think people realize that, as you say, everything's built on a foundation. And a lot of times what we share with people is you either have a business or you have a side hustle. And it is okay to have a side hustle that doesn't have a system or a foundation, because at the end of the day, that side hustle is not a long-term thing that you're going to be doing. For a business or a brand, and as you stated, to be successful, it is highly important to, part of that foundation is not just the systems like what we do and we help. And a lot of times we find people, yes, we're a Web3 agency, but we find that people need help with their Web 2 system still. They don't have that concrete foundation. They might just have cinder blocks. And part of the foundation is branding. And a lot of times people don't understand that whole concept because they are used to the side hustle. Now, again, I don't knock anybody out there trying to do good things and get their, their stuff out there. But if you want to make it a long-term successful entity, that is, as you share, the importance of having, that foundation that is all encompassing, by the way. And it's important to understand how to get that, and so, your current title, you are the current title holder of Miss Money Woman. Tell us us about how you came to be and some of your key responsibilities as being Miss Money Woman.
Yeah, so let's see. I'm trying to think even what month. I think it's been about 3 or so months ago that there's a beautiful woman. Her name is Sandra Adeo, and she is the founder of Money Woman International. So her goal is all about financial autonomy, literacy, and building up, teaching girls to women about entrepreneurism, about financial stability, how to have finances, how to attract finances, how to do good, smart things with the finances, after once you have it, investing, all of it. And she's on this mission for the world. And so she created the Miss Money Woman pageant, which is a pageant, but it is a business acumen pageant. So this year's theme was beauty and brilliance. And so for about 3 weeks total, from beginning to end, we had challenges every single day. We had different things that we had to, do. It was a competition, and we had to display our business acumen. And so we had to show that we were able to do copy and to do the marketing, to do the branding, to be on camera, and all of those different types of things. And I won that. So what I get to do now is be a part of that. And we're working on some a really great initiative for the younger girls and teenagers to be able to teach them early about entrepreneurism and about money, and that it can be something that's fun. It's not just about money, it's about numbers, it's about their self-worth and their confidence, of course, and all of the things, right, that still go along with that. So that's what I get to do. And also I'll be speaking at a conference with them as part of their biannual conference that they'll be having, and it's in November. And hopefully, fingers crossed, that'll be in person in I'm going to say Nigeria, and that's not exactly the correct place, but I can't pronounce the correct place, so that puts us close enough, I think.
That's
so
okay.
I'm trying to,
okay.
Yeah, so I'm trying to work through and get clear.
I love that. I love the fact of, oh, no, I'm sorry. I must have had a lag on my side. I'm sorry. I apologize. I love the fact of the concept of a pageant, but based around your business accoutrements and understanding how to be multifaceted within, business. I spent 22 plus years in corporate America. David spent, over 20 years as well in corporate America. And I, was just thinking yesterday, I think it was, that all of the things I've done through my business career and business in corporate America side has led to, it was almost, I was getting paid for an education. And a lot of times people don't realize that. They don't realize that, being in the business world, there is an opportunity for us to find really good mentors. Not everybody. Now, I'm not saying everybody, but finding the good people that are in the corporate America that have really good business sense and being able to soak that up like a sponge. I remember that I worked for a company for over 15 years, and it was the two owners and myself. We were literally a 3-person office and contracted, most of our work out through contracts. But we were in the top 5, usually the top 3 of business within the United States and the top 5 within the world of what we did within our industry. And that was such a big accomplishment for a small team. And I will tell you, it took me about 6 years in before I snapped and realized one day, holy snacks, these people are paying me And I am gaining so much business wisdom from them about business integrity, about business knowledge and know-how, and just so many little things that we cannot teach in a college or a classroom setting. You have to have skin in the game. And so for her to create this amazing pageant that you guys, competed in to, be a part of, is just really wholesome. It's really incredible. It's really exciting to hear, because these not everybody's going to get 20 plus years of corporate America experience to be able to roll that into their business. And so for her to create an arena, an area for people like yourself to come in and now be able to pay that forward to the next generation, because they don't want to work in corporate America. They are born entrepreneurs, but we've got to give them a skill set as well. And so I love it. I mean, it's just fabulous,
I
about.
do too, and she is so incredible. And we have, a community within the community that's it's called Money Woman Club, and it is women coming together, sharing. We support one another, through knowledge, through wisdom, through, hey, you need some help with a couple of extra graphs, infographics this week, whatever, we got you, right? So that way, but also creating small little micro loans for startups to be able to do that. But she throws so much value in so many little micro trainings that I tell her that, I'm a sponge. I eat information like, I think that I joke all the time that I am like a cyborg because I can, I envision all the data that I'm, intaking all the time, kind of in that way. And she throws so much so fast every single day. Like, I cannot keep up. And that's really, truly incredible. And it's really been great to be a part of. And I love what you touched there too about being able to, we can't teach these things to, you said something, and now I can't remember exactly how you said it, about we can't teach this to the younger generation, but this just the whole concept of what you were saying. And ultimately, I 100% see that everything through our life is leading us. We're pivoting. We decide when and where we pivot, subconsciously or consciously. And when we learn that, we can begin to do it consciously. Oh, isn't it so much fun, to do that? And I think that one of the beautiful things about choosing to pivot in that way, or understanding that you can pivot, is also understanding that no matter how you pivot, it's all training you. It's all preparing you. It's giving you, a lot of people like to say, it's either, it's a lesson, it's a lesson, it's a lesson. And that, while that's true, I like to look at it as it's just an opportunity for growth, period. Everything, it's water, it's fertilizer, it's food, it's all, it's all of these things. And that makes going through life so much easier when you can know that I don't have to understand if I'm going through something I don't like, I don't have to understand it, but I can learn to accept it. I can even learn to like it, because like you said, oh my God, I'm literally getting paid to learn all of this really cool stuff that people pay thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars to learn. And I think it's just really incredible. And it's to my point of all of our experiences, creating everything that we need in any given moment, especially as we walk into entrepreneurship.
That's awesome. And as you share about this, what tell us what makes you so electric. What separates, you from everybody else, and why is that important that, to be a living art as you share?
Yeah. So, at some point in time in our life, I think we all have this, we have moments that something really changes and rocks our world. And I've had that moment. And for a lot of people, it was COVID was one of those moments. For me, it was way before that. And it was the realization, right, that death is actually something that's really close. It's really close all the time. And at the end of the day, when we realize that, or when we have that kind of experience where we realize that, oh, hey there, here I thought I was just, cruising along. I had all the time in the world. I had, all of I could keep putting this and that off and those types of things. And then you realize that you can't. In such a way, I had that moment and in such a way that it did completely change my life. And I decided to just be, and when I started being in, service, more directed service, there was a lot of things that at first, we kind of start losing ourselves a little bit because we start putting things off. We say yes too much. Sometimes our boundaries get a little blurred and things like that. And art's something that's very important to me. It always has been. And so I was kind of losing that. And so I realized one way for me to actually have that into my everyday life was that I loved makeup. That's an art form, and it's something that I was doing already. So why not pull that into my daily activities? Is how it started, and then I had this realization that ultimately I have a responsibility to others and to be seen and to be heard. And what I mean by that is that there are people that are afraid to speak, and there are people that are afraid to be seen. And on the other side of that, there are people that are dying to be seen and dying to be heard. And when you can see and hear somebody, that's so wonderful and it's so validating, and people just light up from the inside out. And you can do that for somebody no matter what it is that you look like or what it is that you're doing or how you actually interact with someone. But when you can do that from a full space of complete 100% connection with yourself, and you are conveying everything that you are in every given moment. I'm sorry, just correct me if I'm wrong. If somebody really beautiful and lit up from the inside stops and talks to you and you're homeless or you're sick or you are intoxicated or you, name off any of the unfavorable quote unquotes that people, most of us, stay away from. I want that person. I want that person. And not only do I want that person, I want that person to know that they've been in the presence. They've been in a presence that they're missing in their own life. This is about them realizing that there is a pull and a call in their own heart. And if they'll answer that, right? If they can answer that, they can feel that, they can see that, they can feel that. And that's what people see when they look at me or when they look at people like you, right? That's what they're seeing is what I like to say, every time we have a heart tug, every time we feel 100%, that, man, I need to do this thing, right? We have this thing, these things that we're not, that's somebody's putting out a call. Somebody's putting out a call to you. And that little tug is that energetic match that's saying, hello, hey, I'm here and I'm waiting for you. because only you can speak the right words to me. Only you can show up how it is that you show up for me to be able to hear. And at the end of the day, it's not about you or me. It's not right. It's about that other person. And so if I'm going to do that, I want to live my life in the absolute fullest. And if I don't, it's not about, so people don't understand it's not about the makeup. It's not about that. It's about being living, breathing, moving art. And that's from the inside out. I'm philosopher, I'm full of philosophy. I'm full of scholar. I'm full of wisdom. I'm full of all of these things. I'm full of jokes. I love to joke and have fun and play around. And I'm a little kid, and it's bringing all of that into everything that you're doing every day. That's of the utmost importance to me.
Yeah. It's being authentically you. Authenticity, as you, when we did your podcast, one of the trending things that you noted was authenticity. And it's something that David and I have been sharing for, the last 8 years in our business is authenticity. And we as a society, as people around the world, have lost our authenticity of being who we are. And because we have been, it has been taught to us that we need to fit in to a certain box stereotype standard and for so long. And as you break out of that, you talked about like death being so close, and how that everybody's got a major impact in their life at some point. And one of the things when you said that was my father's death in 2009, and that was a huge impact, right? And it's the understanding of that you're here today, gone tomorrow kind of thing. And knowing that life is, short, and showing up in your authentic manner. And guess what? That authentic manner some days is going to be real polished and amazing and awesome. And some days it's going to be a hot mess express. And you have to understand that you've got to embrace all of that. And and something I learned over COVID was self-love. One of my biggest things that I realized was that I wasn't loving myself. I was looking external for it to come in, and acceptance. And when I stopped that and I started self-love and self-acceptance, oh man, a whole different ball game to open up, because it was like I'm comfortable in my own skin, as you share, because a lot of times these people who are maybe resorting to substance abuse or anything that is, addictive. It doesn't even have to, it could be shopping. It can be, listening to music or playing music or writing music. It can be anything. We all are addictive, have addictive personalities to things. It could be walking, working out. It could be eating. It could be whatever, and when those traits and those show up, it's because we're really not showing up in our authentic manner. We're not showing up in our most authentic way, and we're outletting somewhere. And one thing that you said about those heart tugs, those tugs that you got going on, David and I lost our dog 2 years ago in 2022, and that baby was our baby. We have chosen not to have children, but that was our son. And when we lost him so quickly, and so, one day here, one day gone, it literally stopped us in our tracks. And I will find myself, because I'm a huge empath, I'll have my moments. I'll think about my dad. I'll think about our dog. And I used to kind of not be in a mourning situation, but I used to sit there in a maybe more of a sad aura, instead of being like you said, what most people don't realize is that's a tug from that person on the other side who's just showing up. When you have an overwhelming feeling of, man, I miss my dad, or I miss my dog, or I miss my best friend, or I miss whatever it is, that is because they're there with you. You just can't see them. And you have this overwhelming sense of like, oh my God. And it's because you can't see them that you go into that sad kind of moment of grieving them, instead of celebrating, going, oh my God, you're here. Like, what are we going to do? Let's do something.
Right.
And it's just that beauty of being a wearable art. It comes from a place of self-love that you express just within your own words. You didn't, not so much that you said that directly, but the way that you were sharing comes across to me as someone who has done that self-love journey, is understanding, man, life is so much easier and calmer and peaceful when you are just yourself.
Yeah.
When you show up authentically. I was thinking about that a couple of days ago about be your brand, as you shared earlier, that you are your brand. You can't fit into a brand. You have to be the brand. And I think about that all the time, because David and I will stop ourselves and we'll be like, oh, don't drop the F bomb, or don't, say shit or something, and we stop. But behind the scenes, we cuss like little pirates sometimes.
Yes.
And it is part of that is that standard of a box that we fit in, that, oh, you're doing business to keep a corporate professional manner, and don't drop the F-bomb, don't drop the MFer, don't drop all of that stuff. And it's just where we have to resonate with those that we resonate with, and those that we don't, it's okay. It's not that we're meant to be in resonation with everybody, and in alignment with everybody. And so a part of that, leads me into my next question is, what is your theme song for such an impactful, inspirational, eclectic, amazing woman as yourself? If you would ask me this question, I would be happy to give you a list of 50, because it depends on the darn day of what is resonating.
It does, and I am a huge music lover. The one thing that my wife and I invest in, because we don't drink, we don't smoke, we don't do recreational things. We like to go to concerts, and we love to go to ballets and the orchestra, and things like that. And so who I love musically is so eclectic, but that song is actually by an artist. Her name is Lizzie Hellstorm, and Lizzie Hell is her name. Hellstorm is the name of the band, and it's called "I Am the Fire." And everything about this song, every single word, is just, it's so incredible. It's I am the one that I have been waiting for. It's talking about being the fire, as in having that resilience and having that grit to see what we want in life, and get it, take it, create it, however it is that it comes, because the truth of the matter is that it's all of those different ways. And so that's it. It's I Am the Fire. It's really amazing. If y'all haven't listened to it, I just, y'all should. You're glad, be lucky that I'm not going to try to sing it.
Why not? Come on, girl, you got it.
Before this podcast, I was singing, and I'm a horrible singer, so don't worry.
It's in like one of these really off, it's hard for me in the register, but when I am listening to it, I am like bailing it out. And I actually, my first entrepreneurial venture ever was actually karaoke. I did weddings and kids' birthday parties, and I did karaoke at bars, and all of the fun things. So I absolutely love that. If I may, I wanted to touch on, we were talking about the self-love, and when we've done self-love, we've really taken that deep dive into ourselves. The thing that we really find there is those parts of us that we put out into the forest per se, because they did get us in trouble, or because it wasn't safe for us to, be those parts of ourselves. And so we kind of separated them, and then we try to ignore them and deny them and suffocate them down into that box. That's the muchness. In your business, those are the things that you're still trying to do that, right? You're still trying to not, like you said, use the F-bomb. You're still, not trying to do this or trying to do that. And when it comes down to it, that authenticity, the reason it's so important is because authenticity comes from vulnerability. We can never love ourselves or another if we can't be vulnerable. And that authenticity leads to consistency, because what we can do consistently, if we're willing, is be 100% ourselves. And when we bring all that in together, and we bring that into no difference, but if you see me at Walmart, whether you see me online, whether you see me in my classes, or any of those things, when you have that level of consistency, that's when you have the level of trust that enables you to build a legacy and an impact. Like you were talking about earlier, if you are just doing a hustle and you're just, you're an influencer, that's beautiful. I love that so much. Beautiful. But if you really want legacy and impact, then you have to go underneath the surface. You have to bring all of those pieces in. And that's kind of, the difference between regular quote unquote branding and a holistic approach to branding, is really going in and finding all of those pieces of yourself to be able to bring in. The other thing I hear a lot is, it's not always rainbows and, butterflies and unicorns. And I always have to correct people, because this is the one thing that you don't understand unless you are a unicorn. Do I love rainbows? Absolutely. Keep your sprinkles and stuff to yourself, because ultimately that's not what I'm about. Unicorns are stabby. We got stabbies. We'll get real stabby with you. And we don't do the stabby thing to hurt you. We do that because we have horns on our heads. So when we're trying to nudge you, you're going to get poked. You're going to get stabbed a little. It's not going to feel that comfortable. Right? That's a unicorn. That's when you know that you've got a unicorn on your side, that's your friend, that wants you to be your best you, because they're going to say, girl, I get it. I know what you're saying. And you know that I know. But I'm also going to remind you of what you want, what you really want. I'm going to remind you and hold you in a space of what it is that you're really wanting to achieve. And when we can do that for each other, and we can do that inside our business, and we can do that for ourselves, then you can't be anything but that legacy or that impact that it is that you're wanting to be. Really, at the end of the day, you have one job, and it's you.
Yeah.
Finding you.
That's so spot on when you share that. And that's what we share with people as well. It's about you. It's about you believing in you. Nothing will work until you believe in yourself, no matter what other people say, no matter what other people do. It's up to you to be consistent. It's up to you to show up and be committed. And even something that I saw yesterday in this meditation, this gentleman said, we all can make ourselves happy, right? If we all sat down, we could think of something to make ourselves happy. And a lot of the times what happens is we need that thought of happiness other than just feeling happy. And if we get rid of the thought, then you can keep the feeling, and we all can do that because you did it when you sat down. But because we allow these things that have happened to us, we allow this fear, We allow the self-sabotage. We allow this lack of consistency and this lack of authenticity with ourselves of how we show up and who we show up as. That's what's get in the way. And especially now, we're able to create at the speed of thought, that really we're all becoming artists. And an artist is nothing more than the inner child who survived the ego. And when you can drop that ego, you can drop that pride, you can drop that stubbornness and be able to make that pivot and say, hey, this is where I'm at. This is what's going on. I know I need to get over there. So I need to be able to build my foundation, retool, re-strategize, rebrand. That starts with me. As I shared earlier in a room, you have to release the weight from your mind to lose the weight from your body.
Yeah.
And so often we forget that concept, that no matter AI, no matter metaverse, no matter what you're trying to implement, it's your mindset and the energy and the vibration and the frequency that you bring to it to get it to what you want. Successful people, rich people come up with solutions. Broke people and troublesome people come up with problems. Which one are you? And so this is where we love having this conversation, because all honesty, it is mind, body, soul when we talk about branding, when we talk about these things that you have to be able to do. And it starts with you.
Yeah, everything starts with you. And if we would spend that time, that is, and I love that you said the speed of thought. I say at the speed of love. It's faster than E equals MC squared, right? It's faster than the sound. It's faster than light. It can be faster than thought. But of course, all things start with the thought. And I love that I have a technique actually that I teach that's, to generate joy, courage, acceptance, and a few other vibrations purposely by first the thought, then the feeling. And like you said, you can take that feeling with you. Happiness is fleeting, right? Happiness, even the word itself, most of the time, in my opinion, means that it's a sign to you. The word that you're using are a sign to you, if you can listen and hear it back, that you are looking for something from the outside to bring you something on the inside. And what you're needing is on the inside, and that's actually joy. And joy cannot be taken. Joy is what people like Viktor Frankl inside of a concentration camp in Germany in World War II as a young man have from the inside, that could not be taken away from him, and that he was able to keep his mind and his faculties about him, keep his agency in place because of that, and realizing that things like joy and courage and acceptance gave him the ability to create that place of pause between, I was doing so good there too with what I was saying, and then I lost the words. Before response, right, where you can take that little space, and it's something that we can do ourselves. I do it all the time. Anytime that I feel like, oh man, I'm just a little bit tired, right? I do a little check. I'm like, okay, have I had a drink of water? When's the last time I moved? When's the last time that I stopped looking at this screen and just, let my prefrontal cortex have a little bit of a break? And if I get through all of those, okay, what am I feeling in my body? What am I feeling? Right. And being able to recognize, oh, I do have this little feeling right now. And being able to bring that in, create that joy, create the courage, create the acceptance, whatever it is that you need, that's going to not counter that feeling. It's going to wrap around that feeling. It's going to love that other feeling. It's going to bring it into a place where it is seen and heard and accepted and loved, and bring it right on up into joy. And And that's a beautiful ability that we as humans have that no other sentient being, no other being in existence right now has that ability to be able to do that on purpose, on demand, reading, detecting, directing, and processing energy.
You know, one of the things that you shared there, it made me think of the biggest wish I have for everybody in this entire world is to realize that everything you need is inside you. Um, when you discover that, when you learn that everything you need is inside you, as you say, joy, you know, and not looking for that fleeting happiness that is out there, and realizing that it's all in here. Um, the question is when you stop and realize, okay, I have everything. And if the overall feeling of who I'm being every day, like the, you know, your just who you show up as is maybe a little negative or a little grumpy or disgruntled, then that means there's some house cleaning that needs to be done. If you've got things that are just kind of constantly showing up for you, there's house cleaning. And that's where David and I talk about the traumas and the dramas that we have in our life, is that it's going in and mucking out those things. So that way it's like having real silver, you know, in your house. And you have to polish that because it gets a little tarnished sometimes. And that's literally what it is that we have been taught to look exterior instead of interior and be authentic. And I share this with everybody is that because I had to learn this. Be you, because who you are supposed to be is a part of what this world needs.
Yes.
We are not to show up and everybody be like a Kardashian. And I'm not, you know, bashing the Kardashians in any way, to each their own, but we don't all have to show up like that. We don't all have to show up in a certain pretense of like maybe the Brady Bunch or whatever that is. And I think, to be very frank, the world that we're in now, post pandemic, is, well, I know just because of the different, I am, you know, I am big into knowledge as well, but astrology and astronomy and understanding all of that and how that works within our life. We've made a shift because of the age of Aquarius that we moved into. And so what we talk about with authenticity 10, 20 years ago, it wasn't cool to be that way. But if you see now, people are gravitating more to people who are showing up authentic. And guess what? You don't got to have all the tarnish, you know, cleaned off your silver or anything to show up authentic. If you show up in the middle of cleaning or identifying that you got some silver that needs to be, you know, cleaned up and buffed up, so, you know, AKA silver is your joy. People love that because then they resonate and they go, oh my God, you're going through it? Well, then I'll go through it with you, because I've just been looking for someone. And it doesn't even have to be physically. We don't have to be together. It can show up in the social media aspect or on, you know, lives like we're doing here, Metaverse that we're in. It is that connection and understanding. And like you say, being vulnerable within our authenticity is it is the link. It's the direct correlation between authenticity is having that vulnerability. And that's something that David and I, you know, really have discovered through our business and our journey, is that showing up and being authentic about what things are and being vulnerable within our business and sharing with others. You know, that's why, like, tomorrow we have our Getting Naked podcast, and our Getting Naked podcast is something that we've had for 4 or 5 years now. And we took about a year break or so on it. And Getting Naked has nothing about getting actually physically naked, because that wouldn't fly. But it has everything to do with having authentic conversations. And David and I are so excited to bring this back, because we are realizing that the more we show up and we don't have to, you know, bring that demeanor of, you know, the conversations we're going to have in Getting Naked to every aspect of our business. But as long as it is a part of our brand where we have an outlet to share that and people can tune in and identify that, because boy, we got stories, whether they're professional stories, whether they're personal stories, like relationship stories, whatever those are, we've got stories like everybody else does, and they're all not sunshine and roses all the time. And that is what, you know, when David shares and what you were sharing about that commitment and consistency, it's showing up in that realm of being committed to understanding that being vulnerable is going to give you more success than being kind of put together in a very facade that has to be perceived as perfect. And so I absolutely
go ahead. I'm so sorry.
No, I was just going to say I absolutely love it, and turn it back over to you to see if you had any comments on that before we wrap up this amazing.
Yeah, I do love that. The only thing that I do see happening is, well, that I experience is that, especially with some of the younger generations, they're having such a difficult time right now, right? It's hard out there. It's hard to be able to afford housing. It's hard to be able to afford your schooling. It's hard to be able to get up and go to work every day. And, you know, you have a flat tire every other day. And, you know, all of the things that we actually ourselves have been through. And let me tell you, I was there 5 years ago. 5 years ago, I was boiling my water to take baths. I have had more of my life without utilities, without running water, without a washer and dryer, without all of those things than I have in my life. But now when you see me, you wouldn't necessarily guess that. And I do run into that a lot, that sometimes it can be hard to understand that I'm actually showing up 100% authentic and vulnerable how I'm showing up. This is how I'm showing up because this is where I'm at. But it's so hard to, you know, connect to. So there is this, but at the same time, that being said, it only takes a moment or two to get past that initial knee-jerk reaction of the outside to be like, oh, well, now I'm not just seeing you, I'm feeling you. And now I know that this is authentic for you, you know. But I do think that it is 100% interesting, and I love that you guys have the Naked podcast. I love the name of it. I'm like, dang, you know, like, because it's so great. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, like you said, having all those different areas where we can bring those different you know, like, for instance, if it's okay for you to cuss and be completely 100% you know, authentic and all of those things inside your podcast, well, then your tongue does not sabotage you when you're somewhere else where you don't want to be doing that, right? And that's what really the holistic part of all of this, that's where all of that comes in, is giving every single part of you a place to exist and be safe inside of your business as well as inside of your personal life, right? Like, we've got to take the walls down and not let there be separation. And what happens is that because it's not forced, everything separates in its correct space and time, exactly as it should be, all on its own. And it's really beautiful.
Yeah. And, you know, the great thing about it is that, you know, with our podcast, Getting Naked, it's a real, raw, funny as AF conversation where you're going to hear us talk about family. You're going to hear us give you entrepreneur stories. You might even hear talk about Tara ass. You never know what you're going to hear.
We talk about each other.
But you're going to hear a conversation that us as entrepreneurs, us as people, us as forward-thinking entrepreneurs, technical people, have these conversations all the time that a lot of the times we shy away because of what you said. But we have to get out of that way of thinking, because people really think that. It blows me away that we don't want to curse out in public, but behind closed doors, mama and the CEO and the vice president and the secretary and the admin are cussing their kids out left and right. Like, they don't, like, who? I don't even much know you. And this is where we have to unveil all of that and be authentic, because how you do one thing is how you do everything. If you're not taking action in bed, you're not taking action in your business. You're not taking action in your business, you're probably not reaching out and doing anything of that sort. Or you're not taking action and saying sorry or apologizing and really owning up to it. So it plays out in all areas of our life. And so when we can have those real, authentic conversations and point it out, you're going to see our story be your story. And this is where now it comes to the point, now that you know, what you're going to do. And it is even worse that you know about it and you're still not doing nothing about it. And this is where the old keys don't open new doors. And yet we wonder why life plays out the way it does. And so, Jen, it's been absolutely amazing to have you on with us today. If you could share with the people, what event, what thing you have coming, what webinar, what masterclass, anything you want to share with our community, because you know the drill. Our friends are your friends, and like Biggie says, we become friends. And so Let's go. Give it to us.
I love it. So right now my Label Academy is open, taking applications for that, and we'll be starting on June 24th. So you've got, about not 11 more days to get in, but do it way before that, because there's some processing you got to get through, honey. So, but you can reach out to me for that. And before we even know it, my next summit will be coming up, and that's going to be in October, which seems like a lifetime away, but it's not. So if you want to be one of those speakers, if you want to register and get in on the VIP discounted right now because you're an action taker and you're doing it early, then come on out and see me over here on LinkedIn, or you can very easily message me at uniqua@uniquabranding.com. And
I love it.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
I'm excited for you and the events you have coming up. I'm excited for the impact that you're making. I'm excited for you to not allow, life to get you, and you to show up continuously and to, be a living piece of art as you are. And we all are a living piece of art, right? In our own unique abilities and ways. And again, it has been such an amazing conversation today. We could have talked for hours, and probably about 100 million different subjects, and not just about business or the authenticity of business. But today has been impactful to me, just through your genuine sharing, because again, it reminds me that as we show up, David and I show up in our business and the community, that authenticity is really what the glue is. And so it's just nice to have an authentic conversation about business and branding and supporting each other. A lot of times we get in these situations, meaning podcasts or events, and it's all about one entity and it's not about the community. David and I have ran into that so many times of just, and that's going to weed itself out in time. People are going to make that change, but we are creatures of habits, and we stick in the old ways that we know. And it takes us, like brands like yours and brands like ours, to be able to show people how they can live an authentic life, be their brand, and pivot their business, have their foundation from a Web 2 point of view, pivot that business into Web 3, and utilize, your branding services and our services of Web 3, support in the point of things of being able just to excel. And so thank you again for being here. Everybody, please go check out Miss Jenny Lynn, wherever you are on whatever social media account you are on. And again, support her, because supporting her is supporting us. as a community. That's what we do this for. And so we encourage you guys to go out there, plug in and tune in and tune up on her side. And so with that said, Mr. Jones, would you like to add anything before we close this?
Other than, you guys definitely come and visit our Hello LLC Metaverse in our Hello Plaza that you guys can go to our Biz in a Box, which is our foundation builder. If you're looking to upgrade your crusty, dusty, static website, that old, outdated landing page, definitely go to our Biz in a Box and learn more about how we can build your foundation and then be able to pivot you into the metaverse through your cell phone, through your laptop, through your actual VR headsets. And this is where we literally can be able to put your business into the metaverse. So instead of you saying, hey, go to my website, these kids, the average age of the world is 30 years old. You yourself is looking for a different experience, which is why you go to Target and not Walmart or vice versa, because you want a different experience. So do our customers. There's a 70% chance, or should I say 70% of your consumers want a 3D immersive environment. So this is why we're here to have our done for you system where we can do it for you, we can show you, or we can teach you. Either way, it's time to do it. And we have a done for you system that teaches you how to do that. So tap in with us, tap in with Jim Lee, and let's definitely make this transition and don't be stuck in that old way. Become that unicorn, as she said. Become whatever you want to, but share your story, because your story is your glory, and your story needs to be shared with everybody. And somebody wants to hear it at the end of the day. And so without further ado, you guys know the drill. Love,
Kindness,
integrity,
and most importantly,
consistency.
and commitment.
And until next time, toodles. We'll see you guys later.
Toodles, y'all. Thank you for being here.